So I hired a Pinterest manager, and yes, I regret it.
There's no stopping me now. I know my shot should sit down. Money's all over me. I'm called to be rich and be free.
Alright, I am big back. What is up, you guys? Welcome to my channel. I am Ebony Evaughn. Listen, I always see other YouTubers like recording videos like this, and I'm like, why? Just like pin it on. But here I am. I am assimilating to YouTube culture, okay? Alright, anyways, what is up, you guys? Welcome back to my channel. Hello, if you are new, I am Ebony Evaughn, a retired business coach and online business operations manager. Welcome to 𝐬𝐶ircleland. This is my internet home where I help you go from confused to the ethical cash generating balls that we both know you are meant to be, okay? In today's video, I am biggie back with another story time. And today I'm going to be telling you about my experience hiring a Pinterest manager that I immediately regretted. I knew I should have followed my gut. I knew it. I knew I should have followed my gut. All right. So one of my goals for this year is I really want to transition from being just a solopreneur. For many years, it was just me, and I had one virtual assistant who became a business manager of her own back in, I don't know, it was like towards the end of the summer last year. So since then, I went a few months with no assistant at all. And then at the top of this year, I was like, Ebony, like, you really have to hire another assistant, and you need to start building a team so that I'm not constantly having to do everything. And now that I'm doing business operations management, I don't want to be the only person on my team that is fulfilling all of the jobs that I have coming in, right? I want to be able to hire someone who specializes in webinar setup or email management tool setup and things like that, so that I'm not doing it all myself, and I kind of have a team that is working, and I have like an agency model. But anyway, so the top of the year, January, I started hiring a lot of contractors just to kind of fill it out. I was like, okay, let me see if I can find people. Is my camera crooked? So I was like, okay, let me see if I can find people who have the skills that I need. And to test them out, I was like, I'll just hire me some contractors off of Upwork or, that are already a part of my network, so that I can start building out this team. So I hired an SEO manager, I hired a YouTube manager, I hired a virtual assistant and a Notion specialist to kind of help me get started. So with the Pinterest person, you guys know that when it comes to how I market my business, I'm not on Instagram, I'm not on Facebook for marketing. So my primary marketing channels online is this YouTube channel and then also Pinterest. So I was like, let me hire a Pinterest manager that can take over all things Pinterest. So I went on Upwork and I put up a job announcement looking for a Pinterest manager, and I didn't really find anyone that I was comfortable with hiring, because every time I wanted to have a meeting with people, they're like, oh, my camera don't work. Oh, I got a cold, I can't talk right now. And I'm like, this sounds kind of sketchy. Like, so I was like, you might not even be a real person, right? So I ended up going on Upwork and finding freelancers who specialize in Pinterest management and Pinterest SEO. And I found someone here in Boston that I was like, okay, she looks like she knows what she's doing. Let me reach out, schedule a call with her, and just see if we can make this work. So that's what I did. I reached out and I was like, hey, I'm looking for a Pinterest manager that can take over my Pinterest account. I've been managing it myself and it does pretty good, but I'm looking for someone that can really like help me go to the next level. I had a lot of pins that were getting a lot of impressions, so it was getting in front of people, but people weren't necessarily taking the next step as far as engagement with clicking on the pins and going to my website, or actually clicking on the pins and repinning them or sharing them and things like that. So that's really what I wanted that's really what I wanted her help to improve on. So we got on our consultation call, and I'm telling her this. I'm like, hey, I have this Pinterest account. It's already set up. I think it's pretty SEO optimized, but you can review it, critique it, and if something needs to be changed, feel free to do so. And then also I told her I have 10 Pinterest boards, and each board I kind of had something specific that I put it on there, like one for digital marketing. I had one for like online coaching tips and techniques and instructional design skills, one month is just like entrepreneurial inspiration that's about quotes, because it is Pinterest. And if you want to get in front of people, then the inspiration needs to be there, right? So I told her what boards I had and what the purpose of each board was, the type of content that I put on the boards. And I let her know that my core focus with hiring a Pinterest manager was someone who could create compelling graphics, Pinterest graphics, and then also write SEO optimized descriptions. And so before I even booked this call with her, on her Upwork profile, it said that she did all these things. So I'm like, this is going to be a great working relationship, right? So we did our consultation. I told her what my goals were, what my needs were, what I was looking for. She was like, great, I totally understand it. That's what I do. And so I ended up signing a 30-day contract with her to manage my Pinterest for the entire month. And so basically it was like the end of January by the time we had our consult. And so she managed it for the entire month of February. So before February, I managed Pinterest myself, and I was getting about 6,500 impressions per month, which is not bad, but it could be a lot better. And so I'll tell y'all what my impressions were by the end of this month, okay? But so for the whole month of February, she managed my Pinterest. So we signed a contract for her to manage Pinterest for a month, and then we're like, we'll see how the month goes, and then we can move forward from there. So the first red flag for me, should have been the first red flag, she asked me for my password to Pinterest, and I was like, well, I can't give you my username and password because when I sign into Pinterest, I sign in with my Google Workspace account, and so everything is connected to my Google account. So I told her, I was like, well, I can't send you my password, but I will add you as an employee, which I've had people help me manage Pinterest in the past, and that's typically what I always do, is just add them as an employee, and then they can go in and create pins, schedule them, or whatever. And so she was like, okay, yeah, that's fine. So on day one, I added her as an employee in my Pinterest account, and then like 4 days went by, and she's like, oh, I can't get into Pinterest, like it's not working. And I was like, well, let me remove your access, and then I'll add it back again. And then once I add it, I'll let you know, because I wasn't for sure if maybe, sometimes if you don't click the link to be added as an employee in a certain amount of time, like the link may expire or whatever. So I deleted the link, added her back, and then when I added her back, she still could not get into Pinterest. And I was like, this girl just seemed like she don't know what she's doing, so let me make a video. So I recorded a Loom, and I was like, here, this is what it looks like, from my side inside my account. I said, when I go in, I went here, I added you as an employee, you have full rights, even though she wasn't doing ads, so she said she only did organic Pinterest, which that really should have been a first red flag, but that was cool with me. I was like, I could find someone else who can do Pinterest ads. So I added her as an employee, but I gave her rights to everything. So she had access to do ads, even though that wasn't a part of our scope. And then she also had full employee rights to be able to add pins, edit, whatever. And so I made a Loom video and walked her through like how to find the access. So then I sent her the Loom video, and she's like, okay, yeah, I can successfully add, I was successfully added to your Pinterest account. So then at this point, we're like 5-6 days into the contract. And I'm like, okay, Ebony, like, this is just one little hiccup. We're going to pick up and get the ball rolling from here. So then she added me to a client portal, which she also used Notion, which I love because I use Notion as well. So it made it very easy for us to be able to collaborate and communicate. So she added me to a client portal and then had me fill out my information, all that stuff, add my Pinterest details. I gave a description of all the boards, and then she started working behind the scenes right away. Well, when I say right away, I mean like on day 6. She started working on optimizing my Pinterest profile, which the profile was pretty much already optimized, but what she did do was she went to each 10 of the Pinterest boards that I had, and she optimized the description for them. She created cover photos for each board, and she created like a list of keywords and tags. And for the most part, a lot of the keywords and tags were, I would say, pretty decent. But there were some where it's like, girl, did you even try? So for example, I have a board that's all about like online course creation. And typically the purpose of this board is to share like instructional design tips for course creators, because one thing that I hate about the coaching industry and most course creators, like they have no instructional design experience. So they just kind of put a whole bunch of information together. So with my online course creation board, I really talk about like coaching techniques and how to create create your coaching materials and supplemental resources that can really help your students to be successful. But anyway, so on this board, all of the tags were really kind of generic, and I was like, maybe she just doesn't understand what the topic is, so let me help her out. So I was like, well, can you find some keywords that are related to instructional design or coaching techniques, and then that would be better keywords for this board. So we go back and forth on the board descriptions and the keywords, and that takes like another 3 days, and finally that is done. And so I'm like, all right, at this point we're like almost 2 weeks in, and I've seen not nan Pinterest pin be pinned. So I sent her an email and I'm like, hey, Alana, I'm just checking in to see how things are going. You know, it's been 2 weeks now and there hasn't really been much movement on this project. Beyond her actually creating the covers for the boards and creating the keywords and the descriptions, nothing else had been done. And so I was just checking in with her to see how things were going. And at this point, I'm still just kind of like, you know, we had to work out some kinks, like, but right now we still got 2 weeks. We can, you know, make a lot of progress. So then it takes her like 2 days. I know she saw my email, because also in my email I sent a loom video with an explanation. I don't remember what the explanation was for, but when someone watches a loom video, I get emails that say this loom was viewed. So I saw that like an hour after I sent this email that the loom was viewed. So I'm like, okay, she'll respond shortly. Did I get a response that day? No. Did I get a response the next day? No. Did I get a response the next day? Yes. And her response did not even address the fact that she had not posted anything for the first 2 weeks. It was just kind of like, I'm about to start now, right? And so I was like, okay, Ebony, like, you already done paid this girl, like, we gonna get our money's worth, okay? So then she started creating Pinterest pins, and she sent me, I want to say maybe like 10 pins to review. She's like, I created 10 pins. You can go into your client portal and you can review them and approve them. So I go in to look at these pins and they're absolute trash. I really just can't make this up. Like, attention to detail is so important. Like, you can't even get my website correct. That's just crazy to me. And look at these pins. I feel like I'm being punked right now. Yeah. And when I say trash, I mean trash. Like, the titles are very generic and not optimized at all. The descriptions definitely were written by ChatGPT, which I don't have a problem if people want to use ChatGPT when it comes to creating content for clients. But even if you're using ChatGPT is an AI system. So you need to still customize it and tweak it to humanize it, to add the brand voice and the tone to the content that you're writing, right? So this is what I explained to her. And again, for me, whenever I'm giving someone constructive criticism or feedback, I don't like to just send it in an email, because with email, you don't have any body language or tone. And so you don't really know what context is in. And so people can read it and add whatever tone they want. So that's why whenever I'm interacting with clients or even just like contractors or whatever, I typically will respond in a loom video. That way people can hear my tone of voice, they can see my body language, and they know that, okay, like, I'm not yelling this across the screen or whatever. I'm just simply explaining what the expectation was and what I feel like is missing from that. And so that's what I did. I created a loom of some of the pins that she created, and I was like, first of all the pins started with like looking for Pinterest advice, looking for resources. And I'm like, why put looking for at the beginning of every title when you have limited characters? And that's just a waste of characters. It's a waste of space. Like, get straight to the point. Tell people, steal my digital marketing strategy. Get the inside scoop on XYZ, right? I like to have it fast, hard hitting, telling people exactly what it is that they're going to get in the title. And I was explaining, like, in my opinion, everything is a funnel, right? So even when you create a Pinterest pin, it is a funnel. The top of the funnel is your title. It has to grab people's attention. Once you have your title, well, actually, technically, the graphic would be the top of the funnel, because the graphic needs to pull people in. The title needs to compel people to want to click on the pin so they can see the description. And then the description is going to help people decide if they want to pin this to their own boards, if they want to share it, or if they actually want to click the link to go to the destination URL, right? And so I explained that to her, and then she responded back to me and was like, it doesn't matter what you want. She said that. She was like, it doesn't matter what you think or what you want. She was basically saying that she created the pins that she wanted to create based on what pins were currently ranked #1 for the search term, which a part of me understands that. Like, I get that it's not necessarily about what I want, it's what the client or what the Pinterest users are going to gravitate towards. But even with that being said, there still needs to be a strategy behind the pins that you create, the language that you use, the words that you use, the destination, the description. Like, there has to be a strategy behind all of that, and it just wasn't there. And so she was like, okay, we went back and forth in emails for a bit, and then we just kind of said, okay, like, you create the pins first, create the graphics first, and then she created them in Canva, create the graphics, and then add me as a commenter. And then before you even write descriptions and all that stuff, we're going to optimize the pictures, and then I'll give you my feedback on what I think the title on the actual pin should be. And then once we have all the graphics done, we'll work on titles and descriptions for each pin. So that's what we did. So basically, I think it was my fault at this point, because when I told her this, she did create Pinterest pins, and they were all very basic and bland. And I was just like, ain't no way this girl has ever created a pin for somebody else before, because I know not. I know not, okay? I know not. So I went in and I ended up basically redesigning a lot of the pins, like leaving comments, change this graphic, change the title to this. I basically wrote all the titles that were going to go on the actual pin. And then once we got all of the graphics approved and ready to go, she added them to the client portal, and then we worked on titles and descriptions. And for the titles, again, I feel like she just didn't even try, because she was like, Ebony is going to rewrite this anyways. This is my opinion. That's how I felt. So she adds all the Canva graphics to the client portal, and then I go in to approve the titles and the descriptions and like what board every pin is going to. And the first pin that I click on, strategy is misspelled. The whole G is missing from strategy. And I'm like, you just don't have any attention to detail. Like, you didn't even take the time to audit and just like review and edit any of this. Like, you did not try at all. And then I looked at the descriptions. Again, you could tell she probably put in ChatGPT, hey, write a Pinterest description for this, and then just copy and pasted it in the description. Did not tweak it at all. It was not SEO optimized as it was supposed to be. And so at that point, I was like, you know what? I'm just going to write all the titles and descriptions myself, and I will let you know when it is done. So instead of me doing the things that I had planned to do that day, and at this point, we're on like day 21, right? So we're 3 weeks in, and still not one pin has been pinned to any board. So at this point, I'm like, I'm just going to do all the descriptions and titles myself. So instead of doing the things that I had on my schedule that was planned to do that day, like hiring a new VA, I spent my day writing Pinterest titles and descriptions, which I hired someone to do because I wanted to free up more time to do other things. But I ended up going through all the titles and descriptions, and then as I'm going through changing the titles and descriptions, I get to some pins and the graphic doesn't even match. Like, it's a whole nother graphic than what's actually supposed to be for this the pin. And at this point, I'm like so frustrated. And I'm like, at this point, this is the point where I feel like your girl is being punked. Ashton Kutcher gotta be somewhere ready to run out and laugh in my face and tell me I just got punked, because there is no way that one person could be this organized, this bad at something that you say that you specialize in. And this is my gripe when it comes to online entrepreneurs in general. Everybody wants to make money online. Everyone wants to talk about how they're a social media manager, a Pinterest expert, a SEO expert, but then they be out here giving straight mediocrity, like mediocre at best, okay? And it is so frustrating to me because when I go out, like, I love being in a position to hire other people, and it's frustrating to me when I'm betting on someone else who ain't even betting on themselves. Like, I'm a stickler when it comes to customer service in my real life, in my own business. Like, I be telling my OVA, hey, we don't let these messages sit in the inbox for 2 days, right? It needs to be out within 24 hours. You want to make sure you start your emails with a greeting. You want to end with your signature. Like, I'm about customer service and giving my clients, even prospective clients, a good customer experience. And I just feel like these days, customer service skills is lacking when it comes to entrepreneurship. And people really be doing the bare minimum. And it is frustrating to me. Like, if all you do is Pinterest, you should be the best Pinterest manager that there is. You should be able to create compelling pins with SEO optimized titles, SEO optimized descriptions, compelling graphics that are going to get clicks, if that's what you say that you do. The best way to grow your business is do what you say you're going to do. Do what you say you're going to do. Do what you say you're going to do. Do what you say you're going to do, okay? That is how you grow a successful business. And this girl just wasn't it. So at this point, I'm already out scouting, looking for me a new Pinterest manager that can start for March, right? So at this point, I reach out to Alana and I'm like, you know what? Just wrap up, finish the pins that are already approved, and we're going to schedule them. And then we could just wrap up this partnership and be done with it. And I wanted to share this experience that I had hiring a Pinterest manager, because this happens all the time, especially when it comes to online entrepreneurs. Like, everyone wants to be their own boss, but then no one has leadership skills. No one has business management skills. And building an online business is more than you just doing the thing that you do. It comes with a whole nother layer of responsibilities and skills that are required. And this is what I have been preaching and teaching for probably 10 years now. Like, you could be the best photographer, you could be the best copywriter, you could be the best Pinterest manager. If you don't know how to manage the day-to-day operations of a business, you're going to struggle to be successful. And so when we wrapped up our relationship, I basically ended up sending her an email saying thank you for your services, but in my honest opinion, you should not be marketing yourself as a Pinterest manager, because everything that you said that you were going to do, you did not deliver on your promise. I did not get SEO optimized titles unless I wrote them myself. I did not get SEO optimized Pinterest descriptions unless I went back and wrote them myself. I did not get eye-catching Pinterest graphics unless I went and created them myself. And so I was like, Pinterest is not your thing. I don't know what your skill set is, but it's not Pinterest. This is not your lane, sis. And then part of me felt bad for sending this message, but then also part of me did not, because I was like, if I don't tell her, who else is, right? And I told her that because only, in my opinion, only one or two things will happen. She will either A, realize that, you know what, I probably shouldn't be out here marketing myself as a Pinterest manager and expert, and she'll pivot and do something that really is in her skill set. Or number two, it will challenge her to actually become a better Pinterest manager. So that is my experience hiring a Pinterest manager and why I immediately regretted it. So let me know down in the comments below this video, have you ever hired someone to help you out with something in your business and afterwards you immediately regretted it? Let me know, have you ever worked with like a Pinterest manager, a social media manager? What was your experience? Can you recommend a good Pinterest manager? Because your girl is still on the lookout, right? But before I wrap up this video, I want to just show you guys me managing my Pinterest by myself. Like I said, I was at 6,500 monthly views, and which is okay, but like, it could be better, right? But after hiring a Pinterest manager, you guys want to know what my monthly impressions went to? Did it go to 10,000, 15, 20, 100 monthly, 100,000 monthly views? No, it went to 3,000.1. That's the result of working with this Pinterest manager. And so people always show these positive testimonials of like, oh, I helped my client go from 6,000 monthly views to 10,000 or 20,000. But they never talk about the flip side of that when your views actually decline. And that's why I wanted to share this video, because this is the reality of what it's like working with people who have no business doing what they're doing. All right, guys, I gotta go do some work, but I hope you enjoyed this story time. If you want to see more story times like this, let me know down in the comments below this video. Otherwise, I just want to say thanks so much for stopping by my internet home. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. Turn on those notifications so whenever I post a new video, you'll be the first one to get it. All right, bye, y'all.